Hi there. We're coming at you live from Cambridge. Well, the water's actually pretty fucking hard, isn't it?
Whoa. No need for the toilet humour.
True, I apologise. I apologise dearly.
We are in the middle of nowhere, and we are, in kind of near Cambridge. Cambridge is a big area, right? But, welcome to Untitled. Should we take this to the bedroom?
I think we should. Welcome to Untitled.
Roll the titles! Hello there. My co-host is currently stuck in the bath. There we are. Hello.
It's really quite hard to make it out of the bath without
We also have
kneeing
two Korys for some reason. So, say hello, Kory. Oh, we can't hear Kory.
Oh, for God's sake.
We may have got the audio routing slightly wrong.
Hi, Kory.
You could probably leave the Zoom call on the iPad, because you've got Kory there anyway.
Well, we just can't hear Kory. Oh, well.
So, the past week.
Fine.
Yes. So, So, in the past month, we've been up to a lot of things. First of all, we've had the Long Boy unveiling, which Kory's going to tell us about.
Well, not if you can't hear me, am I?
We can hear you somewhat.
Oh, you can hear me somewhat. Okay. The long boy thing. Where do I start? There was a duck. It was a little long. It stopped being long around last year because it fucking died.
And it took him a while to really
build-
organise all of this. It has been
I've
dead a
lost-
year now.
Yeah, a year and a half,
Okay, there.
mind you. This thing died Rose's 23.
Yeah, and we've had
Yeah,
Rose's
as far as we're
24
aware.
since then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Greg James threw a rubber duck at me when I was trying to camera up. That was a fun one. What else?
Yeah, you were on scene, weren't you?
I was. You make it sound like it was like a crime, but like yes, I was there
Kory
for
killed
the
the
unveiling
duck.
of the statue.
I mean, we have an exclusive interview with you, who was on the scene.
with me.
Of not the thing dying, but the unveiling of this statue that they.
Yeah, I
Memorial
wasn't there when
service, shall
Long
we
Boy
say.
died, or at least that's what I told the police. Yeah,
Well,
it was.
In the interest of
one
my
of my-
arm aching, we're going to
Yeah.
move on because Dizzy,
Hello.
you and Michael got stranded on an island.
Yes, we did. So the photos that you can see here, me and Michael, who's just appeared,
Michael and I.
shut up, decided to go on a lovely day out to Richmond. We were, it was really nice. We were down by the river. And we, as you can see here, there is this like planter type thing with a tree in it that we were just
Big
sitting
tree.
on, watching the river. We forgot that part of the Thames is in fact tidal.
Excuse me.
Yes.
I don't know. Oh, I have a mic.
And then that bit of the Thames proceeded to, as tidal waters do, achieve
Go up.
high tide. So,
There was a pub right next to it,
yeah.
which obviously like
Wait,
floods
hang
every
on.
day.
Are the rental bikes in the water?
Yes.
What the fuck?
Yes. We were, like, originally, the river, I'll try that one again. The block for the edge of the river was maybe, a good 5-6 yards away from this planter.
How
And
they
then
know?
the water, got over that, spread up, and was almost a foot up the side of the planter that we were just chilling on. And the pub over, I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, there's people sitting in the pub.
Oh, yeah. And there's another pub that was slightly over to the side of this, where they fully have a sign outside that says, can't get to us due to high tide, ring us on this number, and we'll come get you with a pair of wellies.
There were people walking back and forth with wellies.
Yeah, because why lose an hour and a half of business a day when you can just buy a few pairs of wellies?
Yeah, fun fact, actually, York has flooded again, the river. So
Excellent.
it'll be very
Good.
similar to that.
Nice.
Anyway, in the interest of time, don't use Windows for signage. This is a lovely segment we like to do every time. Here are some examples. The first one clearly seems to be some sort of software that can't find the installation. What is that?
Installation
URL
file.
Oh, that looks like it's inbuilt on the TV. Interesting.
Mm.
Yeah, well, it's saying, something like that.
Jamie tries to read.
I can't. Hang on. And then next up, we've got
That's co-op.
a point of sale attempting to network boot, which is probably not ideal.
Co-op self-checkout boot looping.
And then, this is one I took. On the right, we've got a point of sale running Windows 10 that we were still able to buy things on. It just didn't show us anything useful.
Well, that's fun.
I like
yeah,
how
anyway,
for don't use Windows as signage, only one of those was actually Windows.
there is more.
Yeah.
Oh no.
This is stock music jump scares.
No.
There's more signage.
Oh, this is
boss.
more signage.
Yeah, that was a. I recognise that. That's co-op.
That's one.
No.
That's one I took. That's the East of England co-op.
Ah, yes. With their
only
unsurprisingly
one in the whole
Windows
East of
over the
England.
self-checkouts. Dunelm clearly having a bit of a moment with the taskbar showing, and I can't even tell what's on the side.
On the
coffee
right,
maker,
this is a
isn't it?
coffee maker in my hometown that was just asking for an admin password.
Why not?
So I didn't know
no
what to
coffee
put in it.
allowed unless you're an admin.
I mean, I don't drink coffee, but you know, that was quite interesting.
Have a guess. The password's admin.
Probably. Right. Anyway, we've got another one here. Infobeamer waiting
Hardly
for
know her.
Conta. It was it had its Ethernet. It had its IP address in the bottom right, which was fun as well. Anyway, let's roll the next slide. Next up, Cameron.
I'm going to pass a mic to Cameron.
I was about to say, Cameron, you're going to join us now
Hello,
to talk
yes.
about what I've got written down as stock music jump scares. Would you like to tell us a bit about some stock music jump scares?
Yeah, so for those who don't know, we tend to do a lot of editing and have done in the past. We've used a couple of different websites to get the music for all those videos. And people in industry use those websites too. And sometimes that means that I'm watching TV or I'm watching YouTube, enjoying myself, and suddenly I go, I know that music. I have used that track. So this first one is a track that Marks and I have both used in edits, actually. I used it on our Working Class Liberation VT last Freshers.
Yeah.
When we got you presenting for the first time in a while, and
I stumbled
was
over
some
my
movements
words
from that.
about 6 times.
and also in Noughts and Crosses across Manchester, which we'll talk much more about later on. And that track was used in the Jetlag Season 11 finale that just aired.
Which we've borrowed a lot of inspiration from.
Yes.
Big props to them.
And then this one was the other day as well. So back in January I edited a kind of sizzle reel for YSTV and what was coming up for the year. And then Dropout, formerly called Humour, just released their kind of 6th anniversary big sizzle reel, and it again used the same piece. Which kind of makes me feel like vindicated for
I was
this.
going to say, you chose
You
the
know,
right
yeah.
music if other people are using it.
And then this one was fun as well. This is an absolute classic of the genre. I'm a Champion by Tristan Ivory. The jump scare that always got us. It was the feature video on YSTV for many years.
This one I can finish the music on.
Yeah. And that's been used in 2 different shows on E4 in the last couple of
And
weeks.
every time we hear it, we also fill in what our channel trailer, or the YSTV channel trailer used to have in it.
Chanting Yorkshire.
Yorkshire, exactly, yeah.
So that's been good fun.
Yes.
Should we move somewhere with better cameras? And
I think so. Do
is
you know what?
slightly
I'm
less
fed up
awkward.
with the bedroom.
Do you wanna
Let's move
follow
out.
us downstairs, and we'll go and chat about the news.
Exactly, yeah. Have no idea
Very
if we're
awkward
live.
transition.
Hang on, we're in the kitchen now.
Cool. I think
Oh,
you're there.
I'm
I'll
here,
set
am
it
I?
up for you. Anyone fancy joining us?
We need someone. The news.
Come say hi.
Okay, you need a mic
I
that
really
we've
hope
left in
my
the
phone
bedroom.
can still control these slides from down here. So, hi Kory.
Hello.
Oh, we can hear you. Beautiful.
Oh, lovely.
Excellent.
Also, I'm noticing how, like, oversaturated. I don't know if it's Keynote or what is making me, but my lips just look, like, very red as whenever I see it.
I have no
yeah,
idea.
look at my- my
We'll
lips
talk more
are
about
like-
how we're doing this ridiculousness later.
Very red.
We do have a segment on what's going on and why.
Ridiculousness is the correct
It-
way of putting it.
It's fascinating, really. But yes, so next up we have quite an unfortunate piece. Well, this is the news. Welcome to the news. Probably should have specified that. But actually, this piece that we're about to go on to, I found quite disappointing. Because this here is a YouTuber known as MKBHD. Quite well known in the tech space. You know, usually very trustworthy, very reliable when it comes to reviews and information and whatnot.
A lot of things over the years I've found out from his tech reviews. They've always been really good.
Exactly. Now, Cameron, you've brought this up and done some research into it. So, do you want to elaborate on why this is, and why we're saying there's quite disappointing news about
Yeah,
it?
so Marquez has just launched his own app, which is called Panels. It's a wallpaper app, and unfortunately, it has a few fatal flaws. So first of all, it's free with ads, a lot of ads. To download a wallpaper in SD, you have to watch 2 ads. Or you could download it in HD by paying a subscription, which is $12 a month or $50 a year.
Right.
Which just strikes me as a bit of a cash grab. It also has a not great tracking report on the App Store, including tracking the user's location.
Oh, right, okay. So, it's just... the unfortunate thing is, I believe they've talked about this kind of thing before on their show. I can't... I could be wrong, I can't spring any examples, but it is quite disappointing to see someone who understands why this is a problem actually taking part in the practice.
Yeah, things that don't need to be subscription models turning into them for stupid amounts of money.
It's really not ideal, and very unfortunate to see, really.
Having said that, I think Tech Twitter has potentially overreacted somewhat and is treating it like his career is over.
His career's not over. I think he should probably... I mean, I don't know. He could do what he wants. It's not scamming anyone, really. I mean, it's a...
Yeah, because I guess if he's decently upfront with...
He's fairly upfront. It does tell you what it uses to track. It is shitty.
Yeah.
But he's not actively scamming anyone. So I don't think career over, but it's going to alter how people see him. I mean, I'm certainly going to see him and go, it's a taste you can't get out your mouth.
Yeah.
But, we're going to move on to MetaConnect.
Yes.
Do you want to tell us...
their big conference, and they made a few interesting announcements. So first of all, they introduced the Quest 3S. It's a new model. It's more of an evolved Quest 2 / a slightly cheaper Quest 3 with worse displays. It uses a Fresnel lens rather than Pancake, and has lower resolution, lower field of view, that sort of thing. But it is literally a tenth the cost of a Vision Pro. So...
I mean, the problem is a Vision Pro is not a decent, price point to go off. Because it's crazy expensive.
Question. What?
So the next thing they announced was a lot of more useless, evil AI bollocks. And when I say a lot, I mean a lot, and a lot,
oh, wow.
and a lot.
That is a lot of AI
It's
bollocks.
so much AI bollocks.
Do we want to talk about it? I just can't, they're pushing it so much. Imagine yourself in different situations. It's just the same slop that is everywhere.
Oh, so it's basically just a souped-up Snapchat filter.
Yeah, but the one that steals from artists.
I'm just getting really fed up of all of this shit.
so
Who is
tired.
using it?
No one.
I don't...
People use
People
it.
are.
I know people use it for fun. Oh, this is interesting.
That's fair enough, but it's not. There's no money in that, and it's not worth it. So where is the money coming from?
Yeah, and then what gets
Where's
me
the
is
money
if people-
coming from?
is
Sorry.
Then if people are using that, the ridiculous environmental impacts using AI for everything does, and art theft. No, not good.
No.
Not a fan. Just
In
use a
slightly
Snapchat lens.
Less horrifying news. Their Meta Ray-Ban smart glasses. They released a transparent version of those, so you can see all the tech inside, which is quite cool.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, the only people that would buy them would be nerds anyway.
Yeah.
So I guess they know their market.
Again, is this not just like the Snapchat spectacles from 8 years ago?
Bit like those, with some kind of extra AI features. And then the big news was they announced that they've created a prototype of what they're calling true AR glasses.
Yes.
It's called Orion. And they say they've kind of solved a lot of the trade-offs with having a glasses-style lightweight form factor. You can see they're a bit chunky, but they...
I mean, compared
to what's come before.
Compared to the Apple Vision Pro, compared to literally anything I've ever seen, they look the most normal.
Yeah, because I was going to say, is that kind of Meta's take on a Vision Pro type thing?
I mean...
You're going to look like a wanker wearing it.
But you'd look like more of a wanker wearing a HoloLens.
Exactly.
This
That is the least... you just look a bit like a nerd there.
They just look like big spectacles.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not...
And the thing is, you wouldn't notice you were wearing them as much as a...
Exactly. I feel like that's the good way to go. I mean, obviously, they've said these aren't,
Yeah, these are never coming out to the public. It's just a kind of product prototype, they called it. And the reason for that is they cost $10,000 a pair to make.
So we're certainly not getting
Someone will buy them.
Yeah.
It'll be YouTubers to
Yeah,
review them, probably.
it'll be YouTube tech reviewers. that
But
buy
they're
them and
using them
no
for
one
like
else.
internal development, and it's kind of the first vision of where they want to end up.
Exactly. And speaking of YouTubers, next up we've got OpenAI.
What?
That was the hot rage on YouTube at one point.
I mean, technically.
I'm trying to
Thing is,
segue.
I thought,
Cool.
look, I thought you were trying to segue back into MKBHD. I got a bit confused.
Yeah, same.
So there have been a few
OpenAI.
big pieces of news to do with OpenAI recently. First of all, they finally managed to roll out advanced voice mode. Anyone
What's
wanna
that?
Recap? So that's a mode where you can kind of more naturally interact by voice. You can interrupt it. It does some really weird, interesting tricks, like you can make it do accents, you can make it sing, because it seems to be
Marcus Pollock
at some level outputting audio directly rather than like just reading out text tokens.
Oh, okay. So it's not taking individual files and it's
Well,
kind of
more
just
like
string-
it's not speech to text. It's not text to speech. It's more like generating audio.
It is just
Yeah.
generating the audio out of kind of not thin air, but you know what I mean. It's generating the sound waves,
So it
the
sounds
digital
far more
sound,
natural.
rather than just generating words.
rather than
Yeah.
going. We have a voice actor who gave us all of this shit, and we're you know.
Well, they
pushing
had
it out.
a text to speech model a while back. I forget what it's called. It was one of the better ones, but it's probably the next iteration of it.
Well, exactly, yeah, and also speaking of OpenAI, they've also, as well as this, they've. Oh, my phone has fallen. They have released O1. Cameron, do you want to tell us a bit about O1?
Yeah, so the way they're saying that this is different from previous models they've released is that it has reasoning. Now, that's a claim I'm skeptical of. What I think they're trying to say is it has like internal chain of thought, so that it can output things to itself as kind of working before it gives you an answer. And the way they kind of promoted it was, you know, that old thing of ChatGPT will confidently tell you there are 2 R's in the word strawberry.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's because the way it works is at every point it's trying to guess what word is most likely to come next. And so that means it's trying to output the answer before it's counted the number of letters.
Yes.
And then it will kind of work backwards to justify its wrong answer.
Yeah.
And the idea
Okay.
here is it will do the thinking first, and you can see what it's thinking.
You can see
It's
a
like broad
summary of what it's
categories, yeah.
thinking.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing that they were very much adamant about. They will not reveal to the user the exact chain of thought of the prompts. Instead, it'll send what the AI thought through another model to generate a summary of it, which it will then show you.
So we've got an AI that is summarizing what an AI is thinking.
Correct.
So that an
Oh,
AI can
gosh.
tell you what it was thinking.
Like, we keep saying
AI-ception.
thinking and thought, and I feel I need to clarify, like, we shouldn't anthropomorphize it like that, because it's not thinking.
No,
It's
no,
not
it is.
in
At the
any
end of the day,
meaningful
all
sense.
this AI
Processing,
is
maybe the
doing-
better choice of word.
Yes, all this AI is doing is just trying to guess what's next. And that's not guess in the human sense of plucking shit out of thin air. This is a
Rolling
load.
some dice and
this is-
choosing.
Exactly.
Probability
It's a load of computer program going, I'm going to pick that letter, oh, that one kind of works. Probability. It's all maths.
But this does seem to perform substantially better not in everything. In some things it is worse than GPT-4, and they've been very kind of clear about that. But things like advanced mathematical and scientific reasoning,
Yes.
it's done much better on tests than previous models.
Because there have been with 4.0, there's loads
Well-
of stuff where you see screenshots that's like, oh, here's a really obvious question, I asked it, and it's adamant about this wrong answer.
Well, speaking of them being clear of things, they've also made an announcement that they're going to essentially, they've announced that they're becoming for profit.
Yeah.
Because up until this point, OpenAI has been a non-profit through a rather complicated corporate structure, but it was like a for-profit controlled by a non-profit or something like
Yeah,
that. I'm not
that's
going to say any more for fear of getting it wrong.
Yes, but
I think
it
that's
was
right.
essentially, there was a bit of ambiguity within them in terms of profits, and now they've, announced essentially that it is for profit now, which has led to the CTO,
Murati
that's the one.
resigning,
Yeah,
along with a couple of other execs as well.
a number of execs have resigned over this. I mean, we've got some, text up here and an article written here, but they essentially are starting to try and make money for it, and who knows where that can lead.
yeah.
But yeah, It's going to be interesting, I think. The last couple of years of AI has been interesting. It's going to get more interesting when the big player has gone fully for profit now. I mean, it always felt like AI was always for profit, but now it's part of the agenda.
It's explicit.
Exactly,
Agenda.
Oh, also a little bit of late
I
breaking
hardly
news
know
that's not in these slides. So OpenAI are doing another round of funding, and Apple were considering investing, which is a very rare move for them, and they have now pulled out of consideration.
Oh,
They won't be
interesting.
investing in OpenAI.
Well, that might tell you what Apple are up to. But
Should we talk a bit more
I was
about
about to say,
what Apple are up to?
speaking of Apple, we do actually have...
What a segue.
Oh, liquid television.
Exactly.
Remotely television.
There was an Apple event, wasn't there?
There was. So this was the annual
yeah.
September event, which in recent years has become focused on 3 products: AirPods, Apple Watch, iPhone. So should we
Shall we
chat
start
about
with the second one?
what they introduced?
Yeah,
Yeah.
go on then.
They started with the Apple Watch. This is the Apple Watch Series 10.
That
The
is...
screen is a bit bigger. It's a bit
It is an
thinner.
Apple Watch. It's the same thing
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
a bigger screen.
Yeah, you get like an extra line of text. The big feature is that it has sleep apnea detection now. This is another condition that Apple say affects many, many millions of people to do with your breathing when you sleep, and the Apple Watch can now detect if you wear it to bed. It has a depth sensor. It has a water temperature sensor now. It's a
Yay.
Tides app. The Ultra 2 comes in black now.
Yeah.
I'm really bored.
I was
We
going to
move
say,
on.
this is
Yeah.
boring.
Like, why do
Uh,
half these features feel like it was just an engineer got bored on a Tuesday afternoon
it
and didn't
feels
have
like-
and had like spare
Yeah.
time?
It
I
feels
was
like someone
fuck it, I'll
stayed
detect
late.
sleep apnea.
I don't understand. Like, the one I've got, it's a second-hand Series 6 that cost me 90 quid from CEX. I don't... Yeah.
Yeah.
No one. Why do they
There's
still
not
release
enough
them?
of an upgrade.
There's nothing to add.
I mean, I think the idea is, it's 10 years old now. It's kind of a maturing product category, and they're just going to keep incrementally improving it. But people don't upgrade.
you don't
for-
need to
for
upgrade,
years and
no.
years.
No.
You upgrade it if
It's
your
not
old
for
one
upgrade. I think it's
actively
more for
breaks.
people buying a new one. If they release a new one with new features, they can still keep it priced at full price instead of the price dropping over time.
Well, yeah, that's
Yeah,
Apple for you, really.
But
Yeah.
this is the first quote-unquote redesign in 3 years, I believe, and they're clearly
redesign. It's the same
yeah,
thing.
exactly. But it's been exactly identical.
I think we need a
the same
defined
previous
design.
2 years.
This one
Yeah.
is at least
So-
slightly bigger.
And so, I
Yeah.
think they're making a pretty clear statement that they're not going to do anything crazy and suddenly make a round one or
No.
flat sides. This is what an
Well,
Apple Watch looks like.
I'm
We'll
bored of an Apple Watch.
Yeah,
I'm
let's
going to be honest
move
with you,
on.
Cameron.
Let's
Let's move on. I want to see more
Let's-
interesting things.
Let's talk about AirPods. There were a couple of announcements here.
Yeah.
The kind of entry-level AirPods have been updated. They're the AirPods 4 now. For the first time, there's an option at the entry level to have noise cancellation and a lot of other features. that
Which is
previously
interesting
Pro only.
because they don't. I'm going to get into shots.
Go for it.
Which is interesting because the AirPods, the entry level ones, don't have the silicone ear tips that
That's
the pros
what I
do.
was about to
So
say. Where's the seal going to
This
come
is
from?
the entry level ones. Yeah, they don't have this seal, which means they don't slot in and they're not that good at isolation, let alone active noise cancelling.
I guess we'll have to wait for. Have reviews come out for them yet?
Yes, I haven't seen it.
I did see a review,
Yeah.
and all I remember is them just going, well, obviously it's not as good as silicone.
Yeah, which
but
to be
that was,
expected.
I don't really remember a lot of it, so I'm not going to quote much
that's
more.
just kind of physics stops
Exactly,
you there.
it's literally, it would be good if it had silicone tips. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously. So, I mean, at the end of the day, if you were going to buy them, how much more is the noise cancelling?
I think it's another $50. It's
Some-
$179 versus $129.
Let's check.
Yeah,
While
while
I do
you
some
do
research,
that,
While I do that, good news.
Yes.
the Dacia
AirPods
Sandero.
Sandero.
That is not an AirPod.
They
That
have-
is a headphone.
They have USB-C and they come in new colours, and after 4 long years, that is all that has changed.
They're literally identical. Wow, USB-C. The
Moving
thing that
on.
phones and things have been using for how
Right.
many years?
The thing is, when you see someone with one of these, you go, oh, okay, their dad owns a trust fund.
Yes.
Sorry, they have a trust fund, I mean, and their dad owns a bank.
Yes.
You know-
Right. So the entry-level AirPods Pro for AirPods 4 without active noise cancellation are selling RRP £129.
Yeah.
Okay.
The AirPods 4 with active noise cancellation are selling for £179.
Okay.
That is a difference of £50. And then
what
for
are the
for
pros?
another £50, you can get the AirPods Pro 2.
If you're already spending nearly 200 quid on
Yeah.
AirPods, I would just save a little bit more and get the pros.
Or you could spend £499 on the Max.
Right.
No.
I'm
this.
going to stick with
right.
the pros,
This.
which I am
right.
tempted to get when I get paid.
I have the Pro 2s.
Hang on. I'd just like to
because
concede.
I have like the AirPods 2s, the really old ones, and especially going on the central line, I would quite like the
Ooh.
noise cancelling.
I would right. The pods. I mean, I use some like £100. Just I think they're they're OnePlus ones, and they work fine on Tube. I'm obviously not an Apple person, but these. I concede Apple have the best hardware a lot of the time. Their MacBooks are brilliant, expensive but brilliant. I cannot see, short of I am obsessed with Apple and need to tell everyone about it.
Why you would choose those
Why
over
you would
the
choose
Sony
these.
WH10X
The Sonys are
whatevers.
better.
Yeah.
They're cheaper. They look nicer. They're
Because
just...
one thing I will give the Maxes though is just how deep the ear cups are. They do feel really comfortable.
You can just buy deeper cups for the
Yes.
Sonys.
Oh, absolutely.
They're just
But-
shit. They're over
Yeah, but the Sonys aren't in the
One
ecosystem,
thing I will
Jamie.
give them is that they are comfortable to wear.
I have counted on two hands how many people I've seen with them, and every time I see them, I go, "Wow, a knobhead!"
Yeah, because like my
It's
headphones-
usually someone with blonde hair with a fucking coffee in their hand, going, "Oh, I want to go get a fucking pumpkin spice latte."
shouldn't
What
because
have you
pumpkin
got against
spice
blonde
ice
people who drink coffee?
pumpkin spice
Hello,
ice
hello,
chai
the
is
blonde
really
person who
nice.
drinks
drinks
coffee.
coffee.
Right,
Hello,
you.
blonde
If you bought,
person.
I would stop speaking to you if you bought AirPod
Yeah.
Maxes.
Hello, I am a
you
natural
saying
blonde
that, Jamie?
person who likes pumpkin spice chai
Apple.com.
lattes.
Right, I'm not
Anyway.
speaking to you if you get AirPod Maxes then.
Before this falls apart completely, the actual news with AirPods is a pretty comprehensive suite of new hearing health features, which is coming to the existing AirPods Pro. So first of all, you can now use AirPods as hearing protection. You can get some goddamn AirPods.
Doubt.
They will
I mean, they added.
apparently
Get some goddamn.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
added not just hearing protection, hearing aid as
Yes.
well.
So
Well,
there's what they call a clinical grade hearing test that you can take on them, and then
Which apparently they have been approved by the FDA
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
being hearing aids, which I've heard only good things about because I don't use hearing aids, so I can't speak to it, but they're really expensive apparently.
Oh, they
Like,
are.
they
more
are.
expensive than AirPods.
There's definitely levels of
That-
them because
that-
like my middle sister has. She's not like fully deaf by any means, but she does have hearing aids. If she doesn't get them on the NHS, they are stupidly expensive. But if you're using like AirPods, there's only going to be a certain level or type of hearing loss that they can actually help with.
Well, yes.
Obviously.
I mean,
But now I want to see a doctor prescribe AirPods.
the thing is though,
Yeah.
right? Even just like so as part of my job, which I think we're getting into later in the show, are we?
Probably.
No.
Probably. There was a segment planned at one point. But anyway, the part of my job, I do a lot of loop installs, like hearing loop installs. And part of it is we have a couple testers that we use to make sure they're working, obviously. And those testers, which are big and bulky things and aren't crammed into a small thing that's battery powered and on your ear, even they are like £200.
Yeah.
And so the small things are really expensive. So if you can get some AirPods for what, 200 quid, that work and and work with your hearing loss, obviously, then that is changing the game for people who can't go through the NHS for their thing, or in America where health insurance is just not a thing. Or
But it's a thing
it
as long
needs
as
to
you're
be a thing.
employed.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
mean.
and this is one of those things where hopefully the rest of the industry will follow suit. And
But after being scared by Apple.
Exactly.
should we talk about the iPhone?
Go on,
Yeah,
then.
go on then.
If we
so
must.
Which I
They
think is a
announced a new
great
iPhone. We're done.
which I think is a great indication of what our attitude to it's going to be.
Yeah, this is the
Yeah.
iPhone 16. So I'll give you a very quick rundown, but then I've got kind of a thesis of this year's iPhones. Those are the color options. They found some printer ink finally.
I gotta
I don't know
admit,
if you've
the
seen
pink-
last year's.
The pink and the
I
cyan.
kinda
colours
like
They,
them.
different.
they,
Guys,
they
I've-
remembered they can do pink.
Guys, I've found the other spray paint. It was in a locked cabinet. Now we have it.
Because I don't know if you've seen last year's, but they were basically 5 different shades of white.
Yes, they were. It was awful.
The big news is the new camera
The
control.
big news.
Guys,
Yeah.
guys, the camera.
Right.
It has a camera. The new
What?
phone.
No,
it
that's
has
not
a
the big
camera.
news.
Yeah.
The news is they've put a trackpad on the side of it
Yeah.
to
So
control
you
the
can
camera.
control the
Guys,
camera.
you
But
can use the camera.
But like a solid
You know
issue
what?
with that means because it's a touch trackpad, that means phone case is just gonna have a giant hole in the side of them.
Or they can have there's special tricks they can do to have another kind of passive capacitive button
Yeah,
that can then
which surely is
Oh,
that's
pass
going to
through.
make your phone case
Yeah.
a lot more expensive.
probably.
Also, I hate to be like that guy, this isn't new. This
Go
is
on.
like Apple hasn't invented this. My old
Oh yeah.
Fold had one of these.
Yeah,
Like I could
welcome
swipe.
to...
Like it didn't do as much as like I think Apple's one is like a lot more like fine grained. But like I've had phones with like it was the power button that was like this. It wasn't its own button, but it would. I've had stuff like that
Yeah.
where it's.
Welcome
You
to
can
Apple
swipe on it
taking
and
something
Note to
that
the gallery,
Androids
we
have
probably
had for
need to
many
delay
years.
Kory a bit.
My phone
Cool.
from 2015, I think, the fingerprint sensor that was on the back, that had gesture controls as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this isn't new.
I
mean,
do love it when
Anyway,
Apple markets something
no one's
as
going
brand
to use
new.
it. I get the feeling like if you're going to do that, you probably just do it on the touch screen.
Because most
But-
of what people would end up using it for, I guess, is if you're zooming in and out whilst recording, you can just press and hold and drag it with your thumb.
But I think
Well,
this is
exactly.
if you're holding your phone like this, recording something, I could see you going like this.
Okay, yeah.
It's just I don't think it's
And
as
changing
user
it.
friendly as they're expecting. You know, people with iPhones don't tend to use them that much.
But crucially,
I mean, except for that feature film that was
about?
shot.
Citation needed.
Only old people buy iPhones.
I've crucially seen like my phone's on the table.
Yeah, you two are exceptions 'cause
Citation,
you're weird.
boss man, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You're also weird.
I do notice an issue with this though. If you're holding a phone in one hand and you're right-handed, you tend to hold it like that, don't you?
Yeah, this is true.
Where's the like base of my thumb? Oh, right on the button that controls things.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. I
anyway.
hope it's good at
We should probably move
We
on.
should probably move on.
They've
we've
also
had
added
enough
just
yelling.
for the iPhone 16 and 16 Pro, like a visual. It's sort of a Google Lens ripoff.
Oh,
with
whoop-de-doo.
Apple Intelligence. This is quite good. They've kind of done a new generation of photographic style, so you can change the look of your photos a lot more. You can try and kind of undo some of the processing and the flattening that smartphones tend to do these days. Add a bit
Install
more shadow
Lightroom.
and tone, but
Next.
yeah.
Fair point.
Those are the Pro iPhones.
Oh, it's the
There
fucking
we go.
shades
They've
of
lost
grey
the
again.
printer ink.
And
Because professionals don't know what saturation is.
Yeah.
basically, don't buy them. Don't buy the iPhone 16 Pro. You
Not
should
worth
buy
it.
the iPhone 16 if you're in the market for a new iPhone this year. You've
Or
got an old
buy
one
a
or
that's
the
sec-
great.
15
Buy
Pro.
a second-hand iPhone like
But
13.
specifically-
Yeah,
Typically,
mine's a 13. Like,
The
got
last couple of
refurbished.
years, there's been a trend of the base model and the Pro model have been getting further apart. So they started leaving last year's chip in the base model. They've had less RAM. They've had significant kind of camera disadvantages. They've had features lagging. So, you know, the action button last year when they introduced it just came to the Pro. And this year they've kind of undone on that. So they've brought the action button down to the base model. The camera control launches on both at the same time. They both have the same amount of RAM. They both have a new chip. The Pro has one more GPU core. But all you're getting extra with the Pro is a 5x telephoto camera, which I don't think is that useful. So these days you get a 2x option, which is the main sensor is 48 megapixels. So you get a 2x, which is just a crop of that. And then now, if you get the telephoto lens, it's 5x. So you've got great kind of very long distance zoom, but everything between 2 and 5x is just kind of blown up from the main sensor. You get LiDAR, slightly better AR. No one uses AR on
LiDAR?
their phone these
I
days.
hardly know R.
It seems like a lot of
You get some kind of very specific, if you want to record like specific video formats that no one cares about except us, then you might need the Pro. But there have been advantages in the past, and obviously last year, only the iPhone 15 Pro got Apple Intelligence if you care about those features, whereas this year it's across the whole lineup, and they made a whole song and dance about that. And in fact, you pointed out that they have concepts of a plan because
Yeah, it's
everywhere
like
in the marketing.
what's the Trump quote from the other day? I have concepts of a plan.
He
It's
does not
just
have a
that.
plan.
Yeah, because, you know, everywhere in the marketing for the iPhone 16 and 16 Pro, it's all, we've got Apple Intelligence, AI, you know, we're going to be doing so much with it. And then crucially, it's not released. The phone's released now. The Apple Intelligence is not releasing for how long?
So the first features come out in iOS 18.1, which will be in kind of mid-October most likely. But then there are features that are staggered through kind of Christmas and all the way to March for all of it to come.
Yeah. So like they've been advertising this so strongly. You buy the phone and you don't have it.
It just seems like a load of fluff. I mean, obviously I'm biased. I don't like Apple phones, but don't get the Pro.
Really, you've never mentioned.
Yeah, no. Anyway, I'm going to move us swiftly on.
Cool.
Because
is
we
you've got-
overran in this segment so much we just turned off the timer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Matthew Stratford, if you would like to join us downstairs. Mark, do you want to go Vision next? This is a fun.
Yes, so welcome to this month. I went on eBay and I bought. It's a segment we appear to have every month now because we are all obsessed with eBay.
We have no financial control.
Well, no,
Mainly
Matt Strat's
No.
obsessed with eBay too.
I just haven't told you about all the things
So
I've been
we're going
buying.
to start with Matt Strat.
Oh God.
We're going to start with Matt Strat. Do you want to tell us what you got this week?
Well, we were on this show last month in Benfleet, and we had a chronic lack of HDMI cables.
We did, yep.
So I went to eBay, and I was like, let's see how expensive HDMI cables are. They were surprisingly expensive for what is, well, I don't know. It's technically like a 19-core cable, so I guess it should be expensive.
Just so you're not in the projector screen.
Yeah.
Aww.
You're now under the table.
Oh, that was
So-
what you were doing, Kory. I couldn't work it out.
I was trying to do the.
I don't know if we can see
So
you, but
yeah, I just kind of bought some. I bought someone's random selection, and it got to about a tenner for about 10 cables, and I was like, oh, that'll do. Sweet. So yeah, I
now
bought
we
some
have
cables.
An overabundance of HDMI.
Well, yeah, I still don't know where they are. Because even though I have them, I was still looking for them.
yes, we did have a bit of a struggle for HDMI today, actually.
Yeah, so we just fixed it with lots of network cables instead. Oh yeah, that's because we've got a billion things with HDMI outputs on going to other things like this projector.
Yeah, exactly.
Hardly know. Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you bought some HDMI cables.
Yeah.
What did Marks just drop down the stairs? It's complete.
Themselves.
Who knows?
Nice.
Complete
But,
silent batteries.
This month you also went on eBay and bought something, didn't you?
Do you
What
know,
did you buy?
I also went on eBay. You're right, Cameron.
Slightly more expensive.
Do you know I spent slightly more than £10? Probably about, let's say, ballpark figure, 70 times more money.
Good.
I bought an A10 Mini Extreme ISO for £700 on eBay.
Nice.
At least how much was it new?
What do you mean?
As in, if you were buying one of these brand new.
Oh, they're about, what, 1,500?
Oh,
Okay.
Oh my God, is this a
That
gallery
is-
cam?
that is the exact.
That is,
Where do we get the HDMI?
this is currently running the stream. Think it might have frozen. But yes, this is what's running the stream. It has 8 inputs, 2 HDMI outputs, 2 USB-C outputs. Did we ever start the ISO recording?
No.
Probably
No.
not.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Oh well, Marks, hit record. We'll have
If someone
something.
fancies starting it now.
Fuck it, start it
We
now.
were also happened to not be quite streaming in as many bits as we were supposed to be either.
Oh dear.
Well,
Oh well.
are we at least recording somewhere?
YouTube is, right?
Brilliant. Low quality file. Anyway.
Yeah. Are we at least streaming in 1080 this time? I think we
Good
are.
question.
Sorry about that.
I love that we
Oh,
always...
we are, yes. 1080p 60 we are streaming
Brilliant,
it for some
right.
reason.
But why is it
Success.
60?
I don't know, I'm
YouTube.
just telling you what YouTube's telling me.
Anyway, I bought this. It cost me a lot of money. I also unboxed it. But
Yeah.
I
so,
recorded it...
well, I don't know if you know this. I hacked into the CCTV footage from your caravan while you
did
were
you?
opening the box.
Right, I opened this in the caravan, so it was the only spare
and
room I had.
I think we can play that for the viewers now.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Should we have
I
a look
reckon
at
we
that?
probably can.
This week I went on eBay and I got a very expensive package that I'm going to really not to show you my address on. Now, what I've got in this package is going to make streaming so much more cool and fun for Untitled. We're going to be able to do so much more with this. So I want to open it. I'm excited. Let's immediately have a look. Right. I already can't get in. Oh, this is, there we are. This, probably can't hear me over it. This is what I have managed to get my hands on. This is, as it says on it, a Blackmagic A10 Mini Extreme ISO. Oh, this thing's so cool. So, it's also massive. For context, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but over here I have an A10 Mini that's currently controlling this recording, and it's about yay. And then you get this thing, and it's massive. Right, come on, let's get inside this package. I want to see. Right. Oh, we've got a Blackmagic DaVinci Resolve 17. I imagine that's already been used because I did get this from eBay second hand. Tell you what, I wish I'd flipped that the other way round. Is that something I can do? No. Oh well. I guess you're going to be looking at this upside down. So we got the that's Da Vinci. Oh, that's also Da Vinci. We could get rid of them. There we are. Oh, look at that. Oh, let's take this thing out. Get rid of the packaging for now. We can come back to that. Look at this. This is so cool. Right, let's go back to this like A10 Mini we have over here. So it's literally double the size. I know you can't really see that from that camera, but there's them at the start. My hand is the end of the Mini, and the Extreme is literally double. This thing is the size of like my arm. It's not really mini anymore, is it? Right. So we've got so many options on this thing. I am treading on a cable. This, you know, it's got the first of all, it's got the 8 inputs on the back. You know, you got so many. This is sorry, I'm just lost for words. This is brilliant. So you've got 2 mics, which are 3.5 mil on the back there, so no one's really going to be using them, let's be honest. Most people that spring for this are just going to get, you know, a separate sound desk. For example, no, I'm not using a sound desk, I'm currently using an interface. But, you know, you're never going to run audio through 3.5 on an A10 Mini, let's be honest. But the option's there if you need it. It's also headphones, which the old Mini Pro didn't have. So you've got volume control, mute, whatnot, and that's also 3.5 on the back here. Then for each camera, you have camera control. Now this is over HDMI, you know, 2 ways, so the camera needs to support it obviously, but a lot of Blackmagic ones will. But you've got gain, you know, the blacks, the focus, you know, so much stuff on here. The shutter, there's so much you can do with this. You've also got your audio controls for each camera, so if for whatever reason you plug a mic into a camera, you can, you know, press here. AFV, I can't remember what it stands for, but it means when you switch to a camera, it uses the audio from that camera when you cut to it. So if I was looking at this camera, you'd hear that audio, then if I cut away to this one here, you'd hear this one's audio. It also has an option, let's go back to this one, sorry. It also has an option for always on, always off, and so, you know, what so have you. It's so cool. And then we've also got buses at the top. Now this is new to this one. Oh, there's thunder. That's always a good start. But yes, so on here we've got literally like chroma key control. You've got upstream key, downstream key control on here. You know, different transitions as well. Loads of transitions to choose from. Here are your DSKs, your recording, your streaming. You've also got your media player 1, media player 2. It's so cool. And because I specifically went for the ISO model, it means all the cameras that I have plugged into this, what I can do in one of the 2 USB-C ports here is I can get a little dongle like this. And this one's USB-A as well as USB-C. And what this allows me to do is plug into the ATEM like this, and I can record every single input into this ATEM at the same time to this SSD, and still be able to, you know, control, you know, one of the HDMIs will still be that output that you're sending, and the other USB-C will be sending it to a laptop for streaming or whatnot, and it'll still, you know, you can still mix, but it will record all of them in the background, which is the main reason why I went for the ISO version, just because it means, you know, if we make a bad cut during one of the shows, Cameron can come along and edit it using the saved camera footage on this thing, and just make it look way nicer in post. So that's a real advantage of this one. And the other advantage as well, which is another reason I went for this model, is 2 HDMIs. So with the Pro, you get 1 HDMI out, which obviously you have to kind of use for the multi-view if you're streaming properly. But this one allows you to take another one, which for Untitled's use case, we would end up using for a TV, which means we can mix it on here instead of having to go through a computer, which is extra steps, more things to go wrong, and it just overcomplicates things. So this is literally, a streamer's dream. All this in one panel. So that's what I bought on eBay this week. I absolutely love it. I'm just going to have a quick look in the box to see what else we got. Let's have a quick look here, right? So underneath, just a lovely bit of foam to carry it around in, actually, to be honest. I might just keep it like this, for ease of use. And then if we take this out, I imagine this will probably just have the power supply, but worth a little check. Power supply, 3.5 to quarter inch. A load of, European, American, whatever that one is, and a UK power adapter. USB-C to USB-C lead, and the power adapter itself. So, obviously I bought this on eBay, so it was second hand. I bought this for around £750, I think, which is quite a steep price, but for what you're getting, I think it's well worth it. Blackmagic is one of the cheaper suppliers when it comes to broadcast equipment, and this was a bargain. Full price, this would be, £1,200, I think. Someone would have to fact check that. Might be on the screen, but this, I'm incredibly happy with this. If we cut back to me on an actual live episode, I'll tell you what I think of it now. But it right now I'm absolutely giddy, and I think this is brilliant. So anyway, that's been the unboxing. Maybe I'll have a review down the line. Who knows? Bye bye.
Right. We both pressed next.
Whoops.
Um,
So that was.
That was my expensive purchase, and I am still very giddy about it. I love it.
We're currently using it.
We are, and it's working.
We'll tell you all about it later on.
Yeah.
But for now, I think it might be a little bit of story time, Kory. What do you think?
I think a story time could be in order, Marks. We had a very fun time a couple of weeks
Yes.
back, didn't we?
So, for context, I was in Cambridge for this.
I was newly in York. I had gotten back to York, I think, around 4 p.m. the day before.
So,
Do
this
you want to start off, or do you want me to
Where
start
I
off?
was.
So, for a little bit of context, University Radio York is a radio station.
Funny that.
Can we just clip that? It's just
They have networking equipment. Some of that networking equipment is a router, barely knower, called URY-FW0, short for Firewall 0, because it's also the firewall. And on the day that the events we are about to describe unfolded, was a very momentous day for URY. Why was that?
Well, it was because UOY had been working for, I want to say, year and a half more on
Michael Grace will
getting
probably
the
correct
station-
us.
Well,
Probably
it was,
even longer than maybe
it was
even
when
2
I
years.
was head of computing was when we started.
Christ, so even longer than that. It must have been like 2 years. That started to get onto DAB, which stands for Digital Audio Broadcasting. Unless I'm wrong, Michael Grace can correct me. I think that's what it stands for. But basically, like, pretty much industry standard for good sounding radio these days.
Yes. And this was
Um,
on the day that we were due to finally go live on DAB. In the evening, we had like a big event, celebration-y thing planned for it.
Mhm.
I wake up in the morning and I see a Slack message from...
Well, so I think we should start the day before, actually, because a
Yes.
couple of things happened the day before that sort of led into this. So, the day before, one of the people who was involved in the DAB stuff went in the studio to do, like, I can't remember what he was doing, but he opened up the browsers in the two studios and noticed the internet wasn't working. And we found out this was because their traffic's proxied through FW0 and the proxy had crashed. So
We restarted
we
it.
restarted the proxy, and
And
it
it was
worked
fine.
briefly, as far as I'm aware. I don't know if it worked like a little while after that, but
Yeah, this
restarted
is
it, and
important.
it was
At
fine.
some point after we restarted it, it ceased to work again. Then,
Yeah.
the morning of the DAB tournament, which I believe was a Saturday, but I could be wrong. Someone check the calendar. The date's
Yes,
on the
it was a Saturday.
Yes,
Wait, no,
It was a
it was a Sunday.
Sunday.
It was a Sunday.
it was a Sunday. Yes.
Yeah.
I wake up to a message saying that internet has died again. So I
Mm. I
remotely,
also woke up to this.
I remotely from
Sorry.
Cambridge log on to FW0 to restart it. And it refuses to restart. And I go and look in the logs, and I see that it is having issues reading from and writing to its primary hard disk. I do a little bit more digging, and I have issues creating a file in my own home directory, and the disk is not full. Which can only mean one thing. It means the drive has crashed.
It means the drive is dead.
Or at least
gone.
either is dead or is about to be dead.
Yes.
So obviously, Marks, you were doing this from Cambridge, right?
Yes. We immediately
Or wherever you
dispatched
were at
a
the time.
person to do on-site maintenance.
Which was me. So, at the point that I left the house, I thought like I was just gonna turn off the proxy on the browsers and it'd be done with it. I left the house. I started walking. I walked for about a minute, and I pull out my phone to Mark taking a screenshot of them not being able to create a file in their home directory, and just the words FW0 is in a bad place. At which point, I'm just sprinting towards campus, just like, oh shit, oh fuck, it's dead, it's gone, it's. I think what we were saying is it could have went down at any second at that point. I think is fair enough.
Or
to
rather,
say.
what we said is, if it goes down, it's not coming back.
Yes.
For
But I was like, if we restarted it, it probably wasn't going to come back up because I think it was pretty much just running off of what was in RAM.
Important
time.
context for those not in the know. We can get the radio can get fined by Ofcom if they go silent, and obviously a lot
Go
of
silent without letting Ofcom know.
Without letting
with a good
Ofcom know.
reason.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
if we just went silent, we hadn't informed Ofcom that anything was happening, so we could have got fined.
And also because our audio, the UOI's audio has to go via FW0 to get through campus network to the transmitter, so FW0 going down will make us go silent.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I can't remember when. No, I don't think I'd joined just yet. I remember now. I was down south.
So essentially, at this
Yeah.
point, we needed to make a decision. Do we either build a new FW0 out of servers that were lying about,
Mhm.
or do we swap out the hard drive and rebuild it in situ? We eventually went for the latter because that was the least risky option,
Yes.
or the least complex option.
And we were on a time limit because at about this was, I think, by the time we made the decision, it was about 12. And at about,
11-ish,
I think it was
something
6.
like that. Yes, so we had a
12, 11-ish.
7-hour...
I was on a train to come up for the big event that evening.
Yeah, I remember Joe walked into the stores as I'm like trying to figure out what we're doing and finding parts, and just goes, "Don't worry, Michael Grace is en route." And I genuinely had a sigh of relief in that moment.
Yeah, but crucially, I was reading all of these messages on the train, actively ignoring it.
I remember I'd set up. My mum has because I was at my parents' house at the time, and my mum has a work desk in the living room, and I'd already docked my laptop and was logging in, going, "Oh my god." I was ready. I wasn't particularly helpful, but I was ready to go if you needed me.
So essentially, what we then had to do is get a installer for Debian Linux, the OS that it's running, onto a USB. I'm not going to go into the details for the sake of time, but suffice it to say, it was an ordeal.
It took a
It was
while.
a
Your
bit of an
USB went
ordeal.
missing.
Yes, the
I liked that.
the USB that URY uses to flash new OSs to computers and servers, that went missing.
Missing.
Hadn't been found since.
It went missing. Luckily, I have a personal one that happened to be on my keys,
I also have a personal one. It's very handy to have.
which did
Would
mean I
recommend.
got to coin the phrase broadcast critical house keys at one point during the day.
Yes,
Not technically broadcast critical, but it's a funny phrase.
it is. Yeah.
So then, eventually that's happened. And before we took down the old router for good, I had essentially taken copies of whatever important configs that I could.
Mhm.
And initially I'd store them in my shell history. Then I realized that's a bad idea because one accidental hit of Command K would wipe it. So then I stored it into open Visual Studio Code tabs, not saving them to disk just yet, just dumping them in there. And then eventually I saved them to disk and uploaded them to Google Drive.
Yes. Which I believe. They're still
Also,
there to this day.
obviously, we did also keep regular backups as well.
Yes,
this
we
wasn't
do.
like a one
Just
chance to
emphasize.
back up. Or
But just to be safe, in case there'd been any changes since the last backup, I made a set of my own.
You want a
Yeah.
backup of a backup. It's always good to have.
Yes, the rule is 2 is 1 and 1 is none.
Exactly. And 3 is ideal.
Woo, mathematics.
Exactly.
how's Moyles doing?
Your problem.
Anyway,
Oh,
speaking of FW0, have you guys got any closing remarks about it?
Well, we got it up. There was a bunch of follow-up things that needed fixing, but we got it up was, I think, like half an hour to an hour before the big event of that evening that relied on the station having working networking.
Yes.
yeah.
Also, it was interesting because at one point we didn't know the credentials to our TX computer, which was good.
Whoops.
But we did find that
That's
in the
good.
end. But yeah, speaking of this Firewall Zero story, actually, we're going to have a bit of a segment.
This isn't the only time we have had a similar incident with a hard drive ceasing to drive.
I'm going to leave again because I only came to say that Kory was correct about DAB.
Fair enough.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You will
yeah.
leave and be rejoined because, yes, in student media at York, we have a sort of unfortunate tradition of hard drives going pop at really inopportune times,
Yeah,
I think is the way to
Yeah.
describe it.
yeah.
On the YSTV History Wiki, there's a series of articles, I got the words out, called Drive Crashes, which is exactly what you think it is. Several of us have been involved in some of them. Some of us more than others. So
Some
the
of them
last-
affected your UI as well.
Yes. Some
Welcome
of
to the sofa, Matt Strat.
Hello.
Matthew, when did you join YSTV/URY?
I think I, in theory, joined UI first by... No, I joined YSTV first in approximately term 1 of my first year in 2016.
Christ.
Um,
He's old.
yeah. And by second year, I was head of computing for both UI and YSTV. That was nearly a train wreck. It was a train wreck to the degree, but I managed to pump up my numbers by the third year.
No comment.
But yeah, so we got to the story I'm thinking of, and you guys have got all the YSTV ones, which were many late nights of various machines for various reasons, and
one early morning,
y-
specifically on a big event.
yes. Well, the one that
We'll
I'm
get to
thinking
that.
of that you won't know about is your Y typically ends up doing like you have the September open days for the uni, and we try and blast music out at as many people as possible. And we had a lovely time where the music drive in your way just kind of decided, degraded RAID. Drive goes missing. Then ZFS becomes very unhappy. And we need to play some music. So we ran, once I managed to convince ZFS, keep going, please. We managed to get away with doing an entire Saturday of, this open day. And while I was doing that, I was messaging in the Slack telling them that I need to emergency pass several hard drives, and we replaced the music RAID that afternoon. Well, not afternoon. I guess it would, even with Amazon, that's a couple of days delivery. But eventually, we put a brand new storage thing in, and hopefully that still lives and is still healthy. But it's Western Digital drives, which I always have problems with. So who knows?
Hopefully, it'll last for another year, so it's not my problem.
Uh,
Hopefully, it's
student
just someone
media.
else's.
Other ones that have occurred is I am chewing through. There's Drive Crash 4 at YSTV, I believe is the first one you were directly involved in. This would have been
Possibly.
end of end of the 2017 academic year, 16-17.
Okay, what did it affect?
It affected Backup. The server named Backup.
Oh, yeah, the one that then got dismantled and disappeared across the entirety of the tech office. That was helpful.
My favorite part is Drive Crash told by Slack computing channel topics, which starts with. So in Slack, we have a sort of joking tradition that we set the topic to DEFCON, description of current situation, and then we're going to
Yes.
change it. This Drive Crash, as told by DEFCON sentences, are secure seatbelts for crash, manage to avoid crash for now, Attenborough's OS drive failure, everything is sort of mostly fine, everything is not fine, everything is getting finer 40 megabit per second at a time, now backup is dying, and finally, that one was posted at 3:19 a.m.
Oh, I remember what this was. This was when I was ambitious and decided to redo the entirety of how all the computing and AV racks at the time existed. And so that meant moving every machine from its nice resting point that had probably been there for several years and suddenly shaking it around a lot. So that was probably how that happened.
Classic, that.
Yeah.
And then a final message, 8:40 a.m., probably the next day. Everything is fine? Question mark?
I think that's just you're waiting for ZFS, because ZFS rebuilds on hard drives is slow.
It takes.
If you've
Ages.
got many terabytes, in effectively, like, I think Attenborough used to be like 500 gig disks times 8. Because
Yes.
computer science gave us loads of 500 gig disks, and we went, all right, we'll use those then, and we'll have two can die in theory. But yeah, that thing used to really slowly rebuild. You'd have to just do it, hope that another drive doesn't die by the time you wait 6 hours for it to build.
The other thing is redoing that also puts a lot of strain on the other drives.
Yep.
So you really can kill them just by putting a new drive in. You'll put one in and the others will go.
Yeah.
It's like whack-a-mole trying to get it to work.
Exactly, yeah.
A very risky whack-a-mole.
My favourite kind of whack-a-mole.
The next one on the wiki, I believe, was September 2020. This was Drive Crash 5, Don't Rain on My Parade.
Very funny.
Oh.
I didn't write this, for the record.
It's only better because they capitalized it correctly in the title.
Yes. This was primarily experienced by former computer director Rhys Milling of Rhys Milling fame.
Yeah.
The Welsh delegate.
Who, at 16:45 on the 14th September 2020, officially declared a state of not ideal.
Yeah.
While attempting to swap Webb's hard drive array. Then the other entries, because this one is told on the form of a timeline, other notable entries include 1730, Reese's phone is dying and he needs food. 1829, Stargate is out of disk space.
Brilliant.
1930, Reese is bleeding. 2005, Reese is still bleeding. Also, single user mode gives Matt Strat unhappy memories.
What was I... It's September 2020.
You'd have graduated.
Yeah. Well, it must have been alive enough to be network accessible then.
Probably.
That
Well, no,
was
because
up
it'd
for
be single
Freshers'
user
Fair, was
mode.
it?
It wouldn't have networked.
Oh, I must have
That would have
just
been like the week
there.
before. Also, this would have been COVID Freshers Fair.
Yeah.
Then, 2153 motherboard swapped on web as posting.
Nice.
And then at 3 p.m. the next day, 4 p.m. the next day, normality restored. And then we get to the most famous one of the people here.
Yes, in
Drive
recent memory.
Crash 6, the Great Roses 2023 Drive Crash.
Yes.
Oh no.
This was... I will just tell it through the first paragraph of the wiki entry, which I believe I wrote.
Yeah, I believe you did.
Over the
You
Easter
did, 'cause
holidays, Jamie, Dan, and this Muppet were upgrading our primary web server, which is a bit of a potato at the time. As part of this, they replaced the motherboard and realized the new motherboard had one fewer SATA connector than the old one. They got very concerned until they realized that one of the hard drives wasn't actually in use at all, either as part of the RAID array or otherwise mounted, and the server worked perfectly fine without it.
Yeah.
This drive was labeled the mystery drive, put into my pigeonhole. What we didn't realize is the drive probably was part of the array until it had presumably at some point previously failed. That's probably what all those emails were about.
Probably. The problem is, at the time, our computing director had the comp alerts channel silenced on Slack.
And the emails
and
null-rooted.
And I was going to say, and auto-deleted any emails.
So
from
what
it.
had happened here is that the RAID array worked as designed until another drive failed, which just so happened to be on around 10 a.m. on Friday, 28th April 2023, also known as the first day of Roses.
Roses being the competition where we really need that server to work for
Because
about
this was the
6
biggest
concurrent
Roses we had
streams.
ever done, with I believe the plan being 9 concurrent
Oh,
streams.
yeah, it was 9, yes.
Which we did
Yeah,
briefly
I
hit.
was just a baby fresher at this point, but I just remember, like, no, I wasn't even a member of YCV at the time, and just hearing, it's fucked, it's shit, it's fucked, everything's broke, and me going, what the fuck do you mean, what?
It was not ideal.
We had to keep it. We had to keep it alive just enough to do broadcasting, because also the web pages for the graphics was running through this server.
Yes.
So there were plenty of bodges put in to keep various things going, including commenting out various bits of configuration that had important things like check that a password is given, which commented those out. Though the most spectacular bodge is that very briefly the HTTP request for the graphics for the streams was proxied through URY.
Nice.
Yes,
Which if you
URY,
got a bit
which
of the
meant
URL wrong.
Which meant URY
Go.
was broadcast critical and also had a wildcard HTTPS private key for *prod.ystv.co.uk.
and it also meant
Nice.
if you spelt or like got the URL wrong for the graphics, which everyone does because it was a really long one at the time, it would immediately take you to URY, which confused all of the YSTV commentators.
I think I was looking at URY's Nginx config the other day, and the config file, I don't think it's in use anymore, but the config file titled ystv-ssl.conf still exists in our
Yeah,
Nginx
that'll have been that
config.
one. The
It's-
certificate
which will
has
have
long
been for
since
that.
expired.
It's
Oh,
brilliant.
I'm sure it has.
Now, actually, speaking of URY, we've now got a segment where you lot are complaining about MyRadio.
So, MyRadio, the single worst piece of radio station management software except for all the others. So,
It's
it was written...
not a good option, but
It was
that's
initially
what we
written
have.
in, I believe, 2012-ish.
Yeah.
Well, the current iteration of it.
Yeah.
Back then, it was still called MyURY.
And that still lives in the code today.
Yes.
Oh, I know. It still lives in the database as well.
It's a lot of PHP, which PHP gets a bad reputation as programming languages go. You can write good PHP
Yeah,
and
it's
have
just
a
the
productive-
programmers are bad.
and have a good time
This is
writing
not
it.
it.
Yes, no, because you can have very nice PHP frameworks. Like if you want to write PHP web applications properly, look into Laravel. It's the framework that makes it the least painful. MyRadio does not use Laravel.
No, it does not.
It uses a home-written framework.
Yeah. MyRadio just feels like every time we sort of need something, someone just bolted it onto the edge of what MyRadio was. And it's
That's
just sort of,
probably
like,
because
falling
they
apart.
did.
I was going to say that is
Yes.
exactly what it is.
That's that is exactly what it is. And it's so interesting reading opening up the database and just looking at it, because like there are so many times where it's clear that something has changed how we wrote that bit of code, and just the old data's still in the database, because there's like 4 different lookup tables doing the same thing in that database. I don't know which one is the correct one to like use.
All of
Like,
them.
The names
different
for like
times.
genres for songs are defined like 4 times.
Brilliant.
So yeah, PR's welcome.
Yes, that's essentially.
I'm okay.
That's essentially. So many people have gone, oh, we should probably rewrite that, and no one wants to, and no one ever will.
Well, no, we've tried. Many people have tried on many different occasions at many different times to rewrite MyRadio, and yet they have not succeeded, because the fundamental rule of software engineering, you're about to be educated.
Go on.
The fundamental rule of software engineering, Michael, do you just have your elbow in front of the camera?
You have 40. You have
I think
40
the computer may have
seconds
crashed.
to give me.
The fundamental rule
Fundamental
of software engineering, never rewrite it from scratch.
No.
Because it'll go wrong, because there's so much knowledge accumulated over years, encapsulated in the source code of it, that you will need to relearn from scratch if you rewrite it from scratch. And sure, you might be able to do it properly after about 2 years, but then in the meantime, people have carried on bolting on more things to the current one, so
Yes.
then you have to add those in as well, and eventually you'll do a cutover, and it will not go well. I can tell you that much already.
Well,
Just
exactly.
ask Netscape.
Can I make an important announcement?
Yes.
Are you rewriting MyRadio from scratch?
No. We have a new entrance to the do not use Windows for signage.
Kory's frozen.
Our InVision monitor has frozen.
Oh, am I frozen?
The screen, we're pretty sure, is crashed because none of the mouse or keyboard are doing anything to it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
So while that's sorted, can we
Yeah, I
get
think you
Cameron
might have to
downstairs,
power
please?
restart
Next
it.
up, because I have a train to catch in about 40 minutes, we have the Noughts and Crosses retrospective. So Cameron, do you want to tell us a bit about Noughts and Crosses?
Oh, brilliant. Okay, well, we're going to have to do this without any of the visual aids that I spent ages preparing.
Hang on, no, I might be able to get them up on my laptop.
Fine. Okay, so for those that don't know, and there probably aren't many of you because I've been promoting it pretty aggressively on all on Well, now you know whose house we're at. Yeah, we've been promoting it across our social media. We played a joint game.
Windows for signage. I've just lost on time. Right, just
Get the video.
so
that
Cameron,
one.
what is Noughts and Crosses?
So I'm glad you asked. Back in April, we went to Manchester for the National Student TV Awards, and we had some spare time while we were there, and we decided to play a giant game of Noughts and Crosses across Manchester.
This is the board.
This is the
That is
board.
the board.
The story of sort of where the idea happened is that Cameron and I believe, had gone to Liverpool to see Come From Away, a very good musical, would
Yes.
recommend. And then on the train back, well, the journey back was slightly interesting. It involved a train connection in Leeds that was technically impossible.
Yep.
And our
Always
train,
good.
the train we were connected to being cancelled and uncancelled on the way, and then our train picking up delay, which meant that Cameron was telling me all about various ideas he had for location-based games that he had come up with, while I was very much ignoring him because I was stressing out about the prospect of us getting stranded in Leeds. We did not get stranded in Leeds,
Yeah.
and eventually what came out of it was this.
So this is a concept that I've been workshopping for many years before I came to YSTV even. We had some London-based games that I did a little bit of work on and never got anywhere with. And we've been throwing around ideas for a while about what we could do in York. But it seemed such a good opportunity with everyone in Manchester. And we were talking about different games we could play there. And I just went, Noughts and Crosses. We're doing Noughts and Crosses. We can draw
How
a
are we
grid,
doing
3
it?
by 3 grid.
We'll figure that out.
Yeah. So that's where the idea came from. The other thing to note is obviously since I first thought let's do kind of city scale board games, let's do Monopoly across London or kind of create a board game out of the tube map, but that sort of thing. I think
Frozen
we may have lost
again.
Kory again and the TV. That's unfortunate.
Oh, I was
Uh,
mid-sneeze, for fuck's sake.
Excellent.
Hi, Kory.
Go direct to Cameron's
God,
laptop,
going, please,
Jamie.
go.
We're
away.
going Cameron's. Oh, Cameron's MacBook's frozen.
Oh,
No,
good.
it wasn't.
Anyway,
Anyway.
so
Yes, in the interim, Jetlag the game happened, so that's a channel that plays games a lot like this that we took a lot of inspiration from.
yeah, we credited it as being inspired by
Yeah.
in the credits.
So we're going to chat through some of the behind-the-scenes stuff. The last episode, I believe, is coming out tomorrow. The first 2 are out now on YSTV.
So if you're watching this before tomorrow and it's not out yet, pause the stream now. Wait for it to come out.
And then come back tomorrow.
Yes,
Because there are
because we are
spoilers
about
ahead.
to spoil the whole thing.
Yeah. So I guess the first thing to talk
I mean-
about... Go on, Kory.
Sorry, I was going to say, wasn't the finished game board spoiling it already?
Yeah, we just didn't say it
Whoopsie.
was the finished game board, but there you go.
Oh,
That's
you've
what
said it
happened.
Well, there
Now-
we go. Now,
So,
So now we've definitely spoiled it.
as you can see, it was... what at one point would have been a significant shock. It was a Crosses win in that diagonal there.
what's
we're going
that
to talk about...
supposed to mean?
You spent 25 minutes
On
on
a
a
bus.
You know what that is. Anyway, we're going to chat through some of the behind the scenes, how we developed the game, because we spent... that was kind of end of March. That was the 23rd of March. We were in
Mhm.
Liverpool. NASTA was the 5th to the 7th of April. So we had the 2 weeks of the Easter holiday
to develop the game.
try and make this work. So the first thing we had to do was come up with the actual board. And what you see there is nice and neat.
It wasn't always like. Also, it's wrong.
Yeah,
It
this is
wasn't
just for
always
Untitled.
like this.
These are some of the early boards.
Thing
Uh,
of beauty.
And
is
it was
beautiful.
actually thanks to Kory complaining that these were so ugly when I
I
initially
just looked at it
started
and went, it needs to be more straight. That was
asking
like
for
one note.
contestants.
Because we tried to stick to streets, so
Yeah.
that we had the idea of across that street is another square. But we just could not make it square because Manchester is not based on a grid system. And then Cameron went, should we just make them squares? And we made them squares.
And we managed to find a way to do that kind of kept all the challenges and landmarks where they were.
Because Cameron had essentially done a lot of research and found various locations where it could have interesting challenges.
Yeah, do you want to talk about the changes?
Yeah, so we can chat through the ones that we actually played first.
Mm.
So I think in the first round, Ali and Alex went for the bottom right, so they
Yes.
had to perform write and perform the YSTV musical.
So they had to
write a song.
perform a musical number all about YSTV. They had to have 2 verses and a chorus. I will spoil it a bit. Originally, there was a rule that it had to be 2 minutes. We realized that was too fucking hard, so we
That
retconned
happened
it.
a couple of times, which we'll get
Yes.
into how exactly we manipulated the game. Not
Meanwhile,
not in a
Jamie and
bad way.
Kory had to go to the Science and Industry Museum, get the wire where you put the thing through without touching it.
Beep, 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 beep.
Again, another retcon is they were Muppets and misread the challenge and thought they only had to do one display when there were 3. We intended them to do all 3, but then in the edit we retconned it.
We also took so fucking long that it didn't matter.
Yes.
Yeah. We'd also been there the day before. I'm sure we've said this many times, and we were there the day before as well.
And me and Cameron were very careful to not even slightly mention that display.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I played with it the day before, so...
We were right around there.
Yes. Then the middle right challenge was to invent a new soft drink, which was to acquire some ingredients, a bottle of sparkling water and ingredients which cost no more than £5 together, go to the Vimto statue, there's a statue of a Vimto bottle in Manchester, don't question it, mix them together and drink it, which Ali and Alex lovingly did. Meanwhile, Jamie and Kory got stuck on a solid bus for 20 minutes.
Yep.
And then eventually made it to the middle squares challenge, which was to, quote, facilitate international
I think that was your
diplomacy.
wording, which was lovely.
Yes.
It is.
Which is to go to, eventually, they had a choice of countries. They went to the consulate of Italy with an item from Italy. They eventually asked us, would a pizza from Greg's count as being from Italy? And we said yes.
So we got a pizza from Greg's.
And then do a 1-minute speech in Italian, and you'll have to watch part 2 for it. It's a thing of beauty.
It is amazing.
It has translated subtitles.
Watch part 2. It is a thing of beauty.
Let's speed run the rest.
Between filming this and it coming out, I did go to Italy, and I was a little on edge. Oh, they're gonna know.
They didn't.
Luckily.
They also have not.
Just to speed run some of the others, in the top right we had perform a stand-up set outside the
Which was a
outside the comedy
deciding
club.
one of the game.
It was.
That was the final one, yeah.
In top middle we had go on a shopping spree and buy different items from different shops. My favourite challenge was the top left, which you two got to do.
Yes.
Which was go bridge bowling at Green Gate
Which
Footbridge.
Cameron wrote in the notes, go bridge bowl, and I went, what the fuck are you on about?
Yeah. This one, I have no idea where in my mind this idea came from.
Let's not give away too much, but let's just say we didn't find a ball. We had something ball-shaped.
The specification was to find a round
spoiled
thing
the outcome
and a
anyway.
bowling pin-shaped thing, and
Knock
them
over
at
the
either
bowling
ends of
pin
the
shaped thing
bridge.
with the round thing at least 15 meters away.
Watch the episode. It's a thing of beauty.
It's wonderful.
Again.
And
Should we talk
just
about
a still frame from that episode is still my profile picture on Slack. 'Cause
Yes.
It's such a brilliant just frame.
So
Yes.
obviously there are
That's
two
just me.
squares there that we never went to, so we can exclusively reveal on Untitled what those challenges would have
Yes.
been.
Yes.
So middle
We'll
left
move ahead.
was to go to the People's History Museum, and they have a lovely game called Banner Bingo, where you can collect a bingo card, and there are various banners / posters around the museum, and on the bingo card there are things that are on those posters, and would have had to get a line.
Right, okay.
So that was very nearly, if Ali and Alex hadn't, spoiler alert, frozen that square,
You would have had to do
would
that.
have been your kind of last challenge.
Right,
And then the
okay.
middle bottom one,
Which
which
no
no
one-
one played, was to play ping pong.
Oh, I would have loved that one.
We spent a long time arguing over how long the rally should be.
And whether we should even
I
have
think
that one at
did I
all.
argue for 21 rather than 15?
And then I went, that's too hard.
Yes, I agree.
Something along those lines. We nearly our favorite challenge, which we had to cut.
Oh, yes, so there were a few that we kind of, for one reason or another, couldn't use.
My favorite one was that at the Manchester Central Library, there's a statue of William Shakespeare.
Yes.
And what we would had to do is go up to Mr. Shakespeare himself and recite a passage from one of his works from memory. And if you get it wrong, you had to start over. We cut it because the library wasn't open on Sundays.
Yep,
Not
really
ideal.
annoying.
Oh.
We've also got Eat a Marmalade Sandwich.
That was because at Bridgewater Hall they had they were doing like an orchestral showing of Paddington
Paddington,
on
naturally.
that day.
We also have Pass the Turing Test with Turing.
Yeah, this became one of the landmarks instead. That was very nearly instead of the soft drink.
Right, yeah.
And it was going to be, there was a website which would match you with either another person or an AI, and you'd have to guess what you were talking
We
to.
cut that one
Ah, right.
because we
guess
cut that one
correctly a few
because
times in a
on
row.
camera it wasn't brilliant.
Yeah.
Hold a trial at the Crown Court, or a variation of that one that we definitely put in was break the law in front of the Crown
Yeah.
Court.
Yeah. Which obviously didn't go ahead. And then get
that
a
was-
high score.
At NQ64, which is a bar that has lots of arcade machines in it.
Oh,
We
right.
cut that one because
Oh,
you
I
had to
love
pay for
that.
entry.
Right, okay, that
Oh.
makes
It
sense.
was just a bit too much.
Prod budget.
Do you want to
The
tell us-
other major thing that never happened in
thing.
the game that we could have was there is a freeze mechanic where a
Yes.
freeze equate to be frozen.
So should we talk a bit about playtesting before we get onto this and kind
Sure.
of, we wrote the
So-
challenges, we had the map, and then we sat down and played a lot of noughts and crosses.
Over FaceTime.
Because the interesting thing about this is it's not like normal noughts and crosses, because in normal noughts and crosses, whoever goes first has a massive advantage.
So we
in a game like
negated that
this.
by having both people start at the same time.
Yeah. So every round, each team makes a move, and although one team will complete their challenge before the other, as far as the game is concerned, they're happening at the same time. And that was an interesting variation of Noughts and
Because
Crosses
then
that had its own challenges.
we then had the problem of whoever claims the middle square has a massive advantage.
Yeah.
And we couldn't write our way out of that no matter how we tried.
So the first thing we did about that was we made it so the game started in the middle square, and therefore you couldn't claim it first round. You had to go elsewhere.
And that
Originally,
rule
we were
stayed
going to just
in.
start outside the map, but that helped a lot, I think.
But then still on the second round, whoever would claim would have a massive advantage. So
Yeah.
we then decided to negate that by introducing a battle mechanic, where before a round, a team could declare a battle for a square the other team controlled, which was played through one of these special cards chosen at random, and essentially was a competitive challenge that both teams played at the same time, and whoever won would either keep or regain that square. The intention being, if the other team claimed the center square, you would battle it and have a chance of claiming it back and flipping it over, and then nobody used it.
Not ideal.
Whoops.
Oh, wait, was this actually in play? Like we could have done this?
Yes.
We told you several
Oh,
times.
In fairness, this didn't make it into the cut, I don't think, but there was a point as we were walking to the first square where Jamie had to remind me of what the rules were because I had completely forgotten.
So,
So I
end
guess
user
Jamie forgot to
problem,
mention that.
essentially.
We did remind we at this point we should probably also exclusively reveal behind the scenes on Untitled.mov. There was a bit of producer intervention.
A little bit, yeah.
We
Yeah.
we did not decide the outcome of any of the challenges, first of all, but we were monitoring the game from a Starbucks and giving out challenge and watching what was going on, and we realized that because of the aforementioned bus-related blunder, Ali and Alex had a massive advantage, and basically they were in the top right square before the round for it had started. Meaning that the moment that round starts, they could claim it long before you two had any hope of getting there.
And in the edit, it looks like you realised that all by yourselves.
When we told you,
Yes.
we very much
Because-
hinted.
We had to be reminded of the rules. In
We very much
explicit-
said they are there. If you do not act, there is a very good chance you lose.
Yes, we forgot the rules, essentially, which is just brilliant.
I loved you were so confident about not freezing that square. You're like, no, we're going to go for it. You're like,
And then we pointed out, okay, you could, but you have no chance.
Yes, which we didn't really occur to us until it was pointed out.
So
This is a bit of producer intervention that we think was acceptable because otherwise
It
the
would've
game
been
would have come
boring.
to a very early end.
Yeah.
that's also why freezers had to exist. So they were a very late addition.
Yes. Actually, one of the
This was
earlier
a couple
variations.
of days before.
One of the earlier, I'll have to find one of the earlier variations to the rules, but there was an option for a battle of freeze and something reveal a challenge. Essentially,
Ooh,
one
I'd forgotten
of
about that.
yes, one of the
Huh.
early drafts of the rules that we scrapped because it was too complicated was that for every Kory's gone sideways was that for
Oh,
every
it's
challenge
all
you
gone
complete,
sideways.
you would gain a coin, and then you could spend
cameras
3
ran
coins
out.
on a battle, 2 coins on a freeze, or 1 coin to find out what the challenge is in a square.
Right, okay.
We
yes,
scrapped
I
that
do,
because it was too
I
complicated.
do remember you talking about coins, yeah.
But yeah, freezes came in very late. So the idea with battles was Noughts and Crosses very often ends in a draw. We wanted to, if we're going to all this effort, have a winner. That would be
Yes.
quite nice and not go to a tiebreak. And so the idea with battles was you could flip. Originally, you could flip any square, and then we realised we didn't want people to win on a battle. We wanted you to win by completing a challenge.
So, we
then it
added the
only
rule that
became-
you couldn't flip a square that would cause you to immediately win if you gain it.
Right, okay. Yeah.
Which did mean that the rules ended up a little bit boring. Well, a little bit complicated, rather.
Which is probably where me and Kory failed.
To be fair, Ali and Alex also did fail. Though their choice to freeze middle left was very tactical, and we didn't realise it at the time.
So yeah, on the day, I was like, why haven't they battled for the centre square? You guys claimed centre. We were in. You can imagine the position we were in after 3 rounds. Everything on that board minus the X at the top right.
Yeah, so this wasn't here, it was just the rest of this.
And Ali and Alex had the chance to either freeze a square or to battle. And I thought at the time they should have battled for that middle square, because if that became an O, they would block off your path to victory along that diagonal. They would create a path for themselves along the middle row and the middle column. So they would have essentially 3 paths. You would just have that one on the left column. But that is a risky move. They're not guaranteed to win the battle, and if they lose the battle, then you still have 2 paths and they only have 1.
Yes.
So they kind of played it safe, but in a way that made sense. They stopped you going there, which you were nearer to, and quite possibly would have won if you could have gone there, and instead forced you to head across to the square they were nearer.
Which
Yes.
did put them in a massive advantageous position.
But it wasn't
then
enough,
It wasn't enough.
as you will see.
Because Jamie Parker's winning strategy, well, I guess you'll have to watch it to find out.
Definitely check out the video. It's
Coming out
brilliant.
tomorrow, or possibly today, or possibly already out if you're watching this
No, it's not.
later.
If you're in the future, yes,
Yes.
it is already out.
Anyway, have you got anything else to
If
say
you're in the
about...
future, what are the lottery numbers?
I think that's all on. So which brings us towards the end of this episode. But what is starting to become a sort of tradition, we should probably talk about how we made all this happen very
Yes.
briefly, because we are overrunning.
Very quickly, because I don't want to be stranded in Manchester.
Manchester.
We're
Hardly
not
know
in
it.
Manchester. Sorry, stranded in Cambridge.
If you get stranded in Manchester, something's gone horribly wrong, boss.
Gallery, could you please cut to my phone camera? Thank you. So, this is the living room. We sort of had the idea of doing the show from various different rooms in a house. So this is the living room. Those cameras are connected by HDMI over Cat5. I believe I did record a behind-the-scenes video earlier, which we might put out somewhere. Then we had the news in the kitchen that you would have seen with a projector. And shall we go upstairs and say hello to our friends in the gallery?
Can I have Radio 2 on, please?
Hello. So this, just no words. This is something else.
I claim it was tidy before everyone moved in.
It's quite the clusterfuck. It's brilliant.
Essentially, this episode is brought to you by NDI.
Yeah, barely.
And how many laptops are we using?
Yes.
1, 2, 3.
And then earlier,
So,
mine.
there's-
And 2 iPads.
There's also the 2 laptops in other
3
rooms.
laptops, 2
No, there's 3
3 up
three
here.
Mac-
Very
Books.
briefly, 4 laptops.
3 MacBooks, 2 laptops,
So
2
5.
iPads, a Windows 11 PC. Sorry, Windows 10 PC.
No, it's Windows 11.
Oh, it is Windows 11. There's also, I think, there's an Arch Linux laptop underneath. That's broadcast critical.
Try and explain how Kory is getting to air and how the phone feed is getting
Long
to air.
story short, it's cursed as fuck.
NDI.
There is, yes, the short version is, Kory is on a Zoom call. That Zoom call is going into vMix on a PC that you cannot see. That vMix is then broadcasting out over NDI, which is coming into Cameron's laptop over the wired network. Then it is going into OBS. OBS is outputting it as a webcam, and then the webcam is going into Apple's Keynote, which is performing a live background removal, putting Kory on the slides. I think, we say this every week, but I think this time more than ever, this is peak Untitled.
It is truly brilliant.
And with that,
It looks like a gallery for once.
Yes.
It looks so like a gallery.
well, until next time,
I've been Cameron.
I've been Matthew.
thanks for hosting.
I've been Jamie.
I've been Michael.
I've been dizzy.
I've been Marks. Thank you for watching,
been
and we'll
Kory.
see you
Oh,
next
thanks.
month. Bye-bye.
Bye.